Doormen, what's going on? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you guys joining us today. I'm Chief. This is Doormen. And today's episode, I got a little something on my mind, something I want to speak about that has more to do with you as a man, you as a person, more than it does with you as a professional or you as a security provider, right? So before we are anything else, we are men first. So as they say, you can't master anything. You can't master any craft until you first master yourself. So some of the things we'll be talking about on here has a lot to do with you as a person, you becoming better as a man and who you are and some ways to do that. And ultimately, when you become better as a person, as a result, it will affect your job, it will affect your relationships, it will affect everything and everyone around you when you decide to become better. So today I want to briefly talk about, as we just showed, um, how to become a good man. Now this is a broad topic, but my thoughts about this are: a good man is a strong individual. He's strong in every way. I think he should be physically strong. I think he should be mentally strong in his convictions and the things that he does and the things that he doesn't do. A strong man has hard lines, he's disciplined. I think the most important thing is a strong man is someone who is going after his purpose. You cannot be all that you are meant to be as a man if you are not on the path to your purpose, if you are not doing something that fulfills you. That is literally where us as men get our fulfillment from. We have to be pursuing something that makes us get up in the morning. That's something that inspires us. Part of being a strong man is getting on that path. So, a few of my things I want to talk about today about being a strong man is doing things that are a little bit outside of your comfort zone, right? Doing things that are difficult. This is essential. It's a essential piece of becoming good man. As Jordan Peterson said, weak men are extremely dangerous. He said, if you think tough men are dangerous, wait until you see what weak men are capable of. I want to encourage you and I want to say to the men out there, get involved and do something hard. Now, this seems like a very simple, basic thing, but it is the beginning of learning who you are and what you're about. If the end result is being this confident, high level guy, then you've got to start out on a path that attacks those things that you are maybe a little bit insecure about. I remember for myself, one of the paths that I went down was learning how to fight. So when I started doing security, I was confronted with a lot of situations where I realized that the potential for violence is high. When I'm doing security, I started out bouncing, working in the clubs. And I realized pretty quickly that, like, if I'm going to be doing this, I'm probably going to end up getting in a few fights. And I've always been tough. I've always been tough minded. I don't mind fighting. I love to wrestle. I'm one of those guys. I'm rough. But if I'm going to do this as a profession, I got to be good and I want to know that I'm good. So I threw myself down a path of learning how to fight and making sure that I was competent and knew for a fact that I could fight so that I didn't get out here and do something reckless. The people who just pull out a gun and shoot people at random, those are people who are scared. Those are people who are weak. So I started doing jujitsu. I started doing boxing. And when I was going down that path, I realized, number one, you realize some good and some bad things about yourself. But initially I realized, okay, I can fight. I can handle myself, but also there are levels to everything. And I was humbled, especially in jujitsu, by my coach, who showed me pretty quickly there are levels. And I got in that training room and I got on that mat and I was humbled. And I realized there's a whole world of combat that I had no idea about. I had never been involved in. Right. And so I went every day. I think I was going out every day, maybe 4 times a week. On my way, I had a goal. I'm going to at least get my blue belt, because once I get my blue belt, I'll at least know that I'm competent, and that'll give me the confidence to know I can pretty much handle whatever. So during that path, I learned so much. And those lessons came through losing. You start to lose. You start to realize, you know, okay, there's lessons in these losses. Okay, if I were to just do this next time, or if this happens on the street, I can do this, or this is a reversal for that. And every day you accumulate that knowledge, and eventually you become confident and you are able to move with conviction. That's what happens when you attack your weaknesses. Those weaknesses, once you go down a path to fix them, once you jump in the water to learn to swim, there's going to be a period where you're fighting. You're fighting the water. You're trying to figure things out. But eventually, you'll learn to swim. You're not going to sink. You will learn to swim. And then you learn that you can swim with confidence. Now you can explore different areas of the water. Now a different world opens up before you. But you have to attack your weaknesses. Right. So I just want to put that out there for the guys who may be watching this. Being a good man does not mean having an easy life. Right. In fact, I'm sure we've all seen that this right here, right? Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. So to become a strong man, what are we looking at? You have to go through hard times. Now, there's some people whose lives are just hard. There's some people who grew up in extremely tough conditions, or they had a parent who was just on them, on them, on them. Something about your life has to be hard and disciplined in order for you to be a strong, complete, balanced man. So if for some reason you missed that growing up, you've got to have a controlled environment to face consequences. You have to create a controlled environment to face consequences, because what is jail? Jail is a consequence. So a lot of people went down a path, hit consequences, and that was it. Because certain paths lead to extreme and final consequences. But that's different than my jujitsu path. I chose to get into my jujitsu path, which is a constructive path, which led me to consequences that I faced head on. I learned a lot of lessons within those consequences, right? I left learning from those consequences with knowledge about how to move, and I was reborn. And that's kind of like my path that I kind of have written out for any man. I want you to go down that path. Ask yourself, what are your fears? Go down that path. If that path is public speaking, if that's something that you don't like to do, that's probably the very thing that's holding you up from becoming who you want to be. If that path is, learning to fight, if that path is, taking that job that you've always wanted, whatever that path is, you've got to get on that path, and you got to get on it now. Don't waste time. And once you go down that path, you'll begin to learn, okay, don't do that. That works. This doesn't work. I need to do more of this, right? And my entrepreneurial journey, when I started my company, that was a path. Everybody else feels comfortable just having a job, clocking in, doing a 9 to 5. I didn't want that. So I had to get out of my comfort zone and do something that made me uncomfortable, especially initially. I didn't know how to do this thing once I started. You jump out there, hop off the porch. Consequences. You start to learn, You do this, okay, that didn't work. Okay, that lost me a client. Okay, that was a terrible presentation. I don't know what I was thinking. Next time I go to a meeting, I'm gonna make sure I have a notepad and a pen. I'm gonna make sure that I dress a certain way. I'm gonna make sure that I speak a certain way. You are reborn with new knowledge and you're able to make better decisions. So, my fellow doormen, get outside of your comfort zone, get out there, face your fears, do something hard, create hard times for yourself. If your life is very, very comfortable, you're not growing. There's always levels. Do something hard. Find something to get involved in that is hard for yourself. That's the only way that you become the best version of yourself. Whenever I get stagnant, whenever I get too comfortable and you're kind of getting stuck in a rut, you're doing the same things every day. That's when they say an idle mind is the devil's playground. That's when you start to do a lot of nonsense because you're not being challenged on the daily. It's similar to a kid. They want to diagnose all these kids with ADHD and all this stuff. They're probably just not being challenged in the classroom. That kid may need to learn a different way, or he needs to spend some extra time outside running. He needs to join a sport. He needs to join an organization. He's got to, it just means you're not busy enough. You're not operating in the way that you should be operating in. There is no one size fits all. So, yeah, when you're becoming too complacent, getting involved in things you shouldn't be getting involved in, wasting time, you might need to dive into something productive for yourself. So I just want to leave you guys with that. We're at our time for this video. I hope that was able to help somebody. And if you took any benefit from this, there'll be more to come. Join the Doormen page. This is just a community of guys who are just focused on becoming better as individuals first, and then letting our development as men make us better within our professions and better with our families. That's all it is, man. Doormen, this is about, and I'm going to make a video as well, because a couple people asked me, like, what does the Doormen name come from? So I'm going to make a video and just explain, because it's pretty simple, what being a doorman actually means. It doesn't mean a guy who stands at the door of the club, even though that is the way I got started in security. That's the way most people got started in the security profession, which is what I do for a living. It doesn't necessarily mean that. There's a broader meaning. It's simple, but it's kind of profound at the same time. So I'll explain that in the next video. But that's my time, guys. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe for more content. I'll be back at you tomorrow. I'm making videos every day, and I have a certain amount of time that I'm going to be making videos every day. I'm committed to the grind. That's the kind of guy I am. But I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. I will see you guys next time. I'm Chief. This has been Doormen. Later.